Hi, this is Harrison Page. You're listening to TV Confidential.
Russ Meyer's Vixen, the story of a girl who loves the joy of being alive and gives herself innocently to the merry chase of life.
Ed Robertson with a reminder that Lawrence Luckenbill will join us later on this hour. We hope you stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Chuck Harter is with us as we start our second hour by bringing you part two of a conversation that began last week with actress Erica Gavin. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Erica was working as a topless dancer in Los Angeles in May 1968 when she saw an ad in Daily Variety asking for quote-unquote technically interesting Caucasian women to audition for one of the two female leads in a new Russ Meyer movie known as Vixen. Long story short, Erica not only answered the ad, she wound up getting cast as the lead role in Vixen, cementing herself in movie history and the legend of Russ Meyer himself. Released in the fall of 1968, among the cultural chaos that was sweeping the United States at the time, Vixen is the story of an oversexed young housewife, played by Erica Gavin, that also tackles racism, communism, draft dodging, incest, and other taboo issues, all in just 70 minutes. Despite attempts at censorship, including one of the first ever X ratings and 23 separate U.S. prosecutions for obscenity, Vixen became one of the top grossing movies of 1968, forever changing the face of independent filmmaking while remaining the creative template for Russ Meyer's unapologetic vision of American cinema. Our friends at Severin Films have just released Vixen on Blu-ray. It is one of three Russ Meyer films released on Blu-ray for the very first time as part of a landmark partnership between Severin Films and the Russ Meyer Trust. Each of the films in the quote-unquote Russ Meyer's Buzomania trilogy, Russ Meyer's Vixen, Russ Meyer's Super Vixen, and Russ Meyer's Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, have all been marvelously restored by Severin Films, working in conjunction with the Museum of Modern Art, while all three Blu-ray releases include more than 3 hours of extra features. Russ Meyer's Vixen, Russ Meyer's Super Vixens, and Russ Meyer's Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, all available now on Blu-ray through Severin Films, severinfilms.com. You can also find them Amazon.com, wherever Blu-rays are sold. Our thanks to Severin Films for making Erica Gavin available to talk to us today on TV Confidential. As we pick up the conversation, we said to Erica, "You are in virtually every scene of Vixen." Now, that's a big load for any actress to carry, but it seems, I'm not an actor, I just talked to Erica Gavin on the radio, but it seems to me if you're a quote-unquote first-time actress, which, I mean, you had performed before, but you had never acted on film before. So to go from 0 to 60 and to not only have your first film role, but to carry the movie to the extent you had to carry it. I mean, that it's amazing. I mean, you did a wonderful performance, and you carried the film. You did everything you were asked to do and more.
Well, not everything, but yes.
Well,
Russ had some other ideas.
And what were those?
To convince him of doing
Let's hear them.
differently,
What were
but,
the other ideas?
Well, the one that stands out the most is the scene between Vincene Wallace and myself, the lesbian scene, per se. Russ had an idea of how it should be done, and it totally paralyzed me. Mm-hmm. His idea was, he said it came from a woman friend that he had that was in jail, and told him how women, in quote, do it. Okay?
Yes.
And he showed me how that was by taking his index finger and the next finger and making like two scissors on each hand, like a pair of scissors, and then putting the scissors open into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's how, women do it, as far as I'm, and I was like mortified. I was like, it is not. I can tell you it's not the way women do it. I mean, maybe once in a while, yeah, but who wants to see that on screen, No. And so when we started to shoot that scene, he was absolutely livid to the point of he was yelling at me. I was crying, and it was like a whole deal because he was convinced that this scene was the scene that was going to either make or break the movie, and what he was seeing was not working because I was not going to do what he said to do. And I really didn't know where to go with the scene. And so at one point, he just screamed and said, "George, take her to her room and let her think about it."
George being George Costello, Russ Meyer's longtime assistant director.
It was like, go in the corner and and think about it for a while and then come back and talk to me. So I did. I went in my room, and George helped guide me with some ideas that we just kicked around, and I just came up with a different mindset than Russ had. And so I went out, and Russ, back into the room that we were shooting, which was actually the living or dining room inside the cabin. That's where we were shooting that scene. And he said, "Okay, action." And I was in sort of the mind of sort of this obsessed, crazy, sex-starved person, and carried the scene with that going on in the background of my being. And he was not screaming, and he was not saying, "Cut, cut, this is terrible, we're going to lose the whole movie, I might as well can't just throw it in the trash, it's all over." That's how Russ was. And he wasn't doing any of that, so I just kept going with the scene. And then he finally just, and it was like one take. The whole thing was one take. And he just finally said, "Cut, lunch, I got to change my shorts."
The highest compliment an actress can have from Russ Meyer.
Indeed, especially coming from Russ. And he was literally down on the floor, but belly down, banging with his fist into the wood floor. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. He's so funny. He's just a funny little, he's really a teddy bear.
Yeah, and
he is.
I have to tell you, Erica, that scene is my favorite scene of the movie because the way Russ shot it is the camera is almost entirely on your face, and it is playing off your reactions in that moment as you, as Vixen, is reaching this moment of discovery. And everything hinges on your reactions, and it's marvelous. For me as a viewer, there was a shift in the character of Vixen, and that came from what you gave in that moment in the performance.
Yeah, I think Vixen became a little bit more vulnerable there, and not as much of a bitch.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
But yet still powerful and in control. And, Russ always shot, his camera always seemed to be aiming up, which is not the most flattering to me for sure, and I'm sure other women, it's like shooting up, I don't know. And Russ actually said that he did not think the bottom half of a woman was very attractive. So that was why he never shot very much below the waist, and if it was from the back. You won't see any crotch shots from Russ.
Yeah.
None.
Which goes back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, Erica.
Right.
It is suggestive. It is suggestive, it's evocative, but it's also within the bounds of mainstream, and it's one of the reasons why both male and female moviegoers loved watching that movie and still enjoy watching that movie.
It wasn't like everybody in the theater was in a trench coat. It wasn't like that at all. And it was, I think, the first time that women could actually go and watch a movie like that and not feel like embarrassed or, oh my God,
Exactly.
It was groundbreaking, I think, and it wasn't Linda Lovelace and it wasn't Marilyn Chambers from Behind the Green Door. It wasn't that, obvious. And there was a story and a theme that went throughout the movie. The real sort of switch was the hijacking of the plane. Out of nowhere. Yeah. But it's like, that's what happens in his movies. It's the end. There's always some sort of moral sort of writing, of the whole film. Like, even in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, when all the kids that survived are, like, walking through some, and the guy, I forgot his name, but he's on crutches going over these big, huge rocks, and there's streams, and there's this beautiful, scene, and then this moral sort of over-talking in the background about, like very soap opera-ish. But 20th Century Fox and Russ were not a great marriage.
No.
Yeah.
The 7 minutes.
Russ liked it all his way, and he did it all of it. I mean, he carried the camera, he carried the gear, he directed, he did the photography, he edited, he then took it over his back and distributed it across the country. He did it all he searched the locations, and every person that worked on it, it was not a union job. So I would be hauling equipment. I would be writing on the clapboard, and other people would be standing in, that wasn't regulated like union jobs are. And it was a blast, and that's how I got through it. It was really, we all ate dinner together. Russ loved, having everybody around and telling his army stories, and he would tell the same stories over and over, but they were a little bit different each time, and so entertaining. Yeah. And he just loved holding fort like that. The dinners were so important to Russ. And usually it was steak. Right? He's a steak and potato guy.
Very much so. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. One more item. Are you starting a company in an emerging market or developing something new? Do you have intellectual property but aren't sure how to protect it? Reach out to our friends at Tectonic Law. They offer rock-solid representation for groundbreaking industries who need help capturing and protecting their full portfolio of intellectual property and intangible assets, including trademark rights, brand assets, copyright rights, publicity rights, and privacy rights. Tectonic Law streamlines the complex intricacies of intellectual property and business law in easy-to-understand terms that will help you and your company form a concrete plan of action to secure and protect the value of your brand and your creative work product. Tectonic Law is licensed to practice throughout the state of California. They also practice before such tribunals as the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Go to tectoniclaw.com, tectoniclaw.com, to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock-solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
Well, hi,
this is Lindsay Bloom, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Erica Gavin is on the line with us. Erica Gavin, the actress known around the world as the star of Russ Meyer's Vixen. Russ Meyer's Vixen is one of 3 classic films from the Russ Meyer library that is now available on Blu-ray for the very first time from Severin Films as part of its Russ Meyer's Bosomania trilogy. The other 2 films released by Severin Films on Blu-ray being Russ Meyer's Super Vixens and Russ Meyer's Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. Russ Meyer's Vixen, Russ Meyer's Super Vixens, Russ Meyer's Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, available now on Blu-ray through Severin Films, severinfilms.com. All 3 available Amazon.com, wherever Blu-rays are sold. For more on Erica Gavin, ericagavin.com. You can follow Erica on Instagram. And as we mentioned before, all 3 Blu-ray releases from Severin Films include more than 3 hours of extra features. Each of the Blu-ray releases includes an archive interview of Russ Meyer. And so you get a sense of who Russ was as a person in his own words. In the release for Vixen, for example, there's an interview he did with David Duvall and Yvette Vickers, where he gives a lot of the backstory of his early films leading up to Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill, and Vixen. It's all part of the wonderful treatment that Severin does, not only restoring each of these films, including Vixen starring Erica Gavin, but giving us as viewers a sense of who Russ Meyer was as a person and why his legacy is so important.
It is definitely important, and I hope a lot of the up-and-coming get to experience and learn from it.
Erica, I found this. I'm going to read just a little bit of it to you when I knew I would be on here with Ed. This is the LA Times movie review, Vixen screening citywide, May 1st, 1969. Here's what was said.
Was it Kevin Thomas?
Yep.
Yeah.
With each new picture, the irony of Russ Meyer's position and relationship with the so-called respectable filmmakers deepens. Nearly a decade ago, Meyer made the first nudie, The Immoral Mr. T, something of a shocker at the time. Today, however, his lusty sexcapades featuring bosomy babes and virile males seems no more than good, clean fun for adults alongside the current avalanche of more sophisticated depravity with its dubious intellectual pretensions. Meyer's intentions are always unabashedly erotic, but he is so direct, like the old-fashioned men's magazines, that even when he dabbles in perversions, the effect is free from morbidity. His films are sex fantasies projected from a notably healthy mind. Vixen may be Meyer's best film to date. The color camera work is sharp, the tempo brisk, and in the gorgeous Miss Gavin, inexperienced as she is, he has found a girl who displays a vivid personality and even a certain acting ability along with her formidable natural attributes. And so say all of us.
That was one of my very favorite. I thought it was just such a compliment. Just really nice. His and Roger Ebert's as well.
Erica Gavin's on the line with us. Erica Gavin, the actress known around the world as the star of Russ Meyer's Vixen. Chuck Harter is with us. We hope you'll stay with us as we continue our conversation with Erica Gavin here on TV Confidential.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-239-0201. 800-239-0201. That's 800-239-0201.